before you go, I want to tell you a little bit more about the other books that I have. The new one that came out this year was Wales and the Isle of Man. And this has things. What we did on Friday night was a cauliflower mustard whiskey cheese soup. In the northern 6 Celtic nations, the primary only spices they use is mustard powder and horseradish. They use that quite a lot. Now, in the markets right now, you're going to find Coleman English mustard a lot. Look in the fine print, it contains gluten and wheat byproduct. If you are a little celiac or you want to keep them gluten-free, we've actually created a Welsh recipe for a gluten-free mustard powder. It's available back there. The other thing, how many people like shepherd's pie? Made shepherd's pie before? One thing I always get on everybody when I see all these festivals and they say, oh, I got shepherd's pie out there. I said, really? What's it made out of? Oh, it's all beef. Really? When was the last time you used shepherd cows? You need to have at least 50% lamb to call it a shepherd's pie. There is a terminology. It's not saying that it's a bad dish. It's just that you need to call it by the proper name. If you're making a shepherd's pie with all beef or a more that, it's got to be called a cottage pie. The other rules about this, it talks about there are only primarily, as I said, 2 vegetables in a shepherd's pie in the meat. It's carrots and onions, though peas are added in both Wales and Cornwall. And if you're down in Galicia and Asturias, Spain, they like to put green beans in. Scotland will put turnips in, but they also like to put a little haggis mixed in with the lamb. It makes for an incredibly rich, really rich, good shepherd's pie. And the Irish like to put Colcannon mashed potatoes on top. Now, does everybody know what Colcannon mashed potatoes are? Anybody? A few? Or how many people don't know what Colcannon mashed potatoes are? Please, quite a few. All right. So Colcannon mashed potatoes is actually the one dish that all 8 Celtic nations really bind the whole cuisine together because they all have their variations. It's primarily potatoes, cabbages, and onions boiled together and mashed, and that's your mashed potato. It gives a much earthier flavor to it. But the variations are Western Ireland does potatoes, cabbage, onions, and carrots. Southern Ireland does potatoes, cabbage, and green onions instead of yellow or white onions. Northern Ireland will do potatoes, kale, and onions. Scotland actually does they call it a Colcannon, potatoes, kale, onions, and parsnips. Dublin area does potatoes, cabbage, onions, and a boiled egg, all mashed together. I really like that version. That and the Welsh version. The Welsh version is potatoes, cabbage, boiled egg, and leeks. The Welsh got to put leeks in everything. They all have their own favorite things and stuff. In Cornwall, they like to do potatoes, cabbage, onions, and rutabagas, and clotted cream. Brittany, France likes to do that basic 3 with white truffle oil and flour. Galicia, Spain likes to put pimentos and sour cream into it. And Asturia has over 2,000 different types of wild mushrooms alone. They love their mushrooms, and so they'll put wild mushrooms into that potatoes, cabbage, and onions. But you notice it was still that primarily the basics, and it's one cuisine that goes from north to the south. They've had thousands of years of intercultural mixtures back and forth.